What? Guys, this is a genuine reaction. I did not expect this whatsoever. Are you serious?
Hey guys, welcome to my channel where we are going to review or get my perspective on on this article by Entertainment Weekly about Star Wars and its ranking, obviously, where you can read it from the worst to the best films in their view. And I'm gonna have my own views on it and see what they think and what I think and if I agree or not. And I'm kind of curious what they have on this list, honestly. I am very much a Star Wars nerd. I've been into Star Wars for a long time. If you've seen anything of my stuff, you will know how much, and it's pretty bad. But, that being said, I have a lot of views on my, how I see Star Wars and everything, and what I say is Star Wars, you know, my view on that. That doesn't necessarily mean that I don't disagree with certain I disagree with a lot of people, but doesn't mean that I'm not saying your point of view is invalid or anything. But I have my own, I would say, views on a lot of things. But I won't get into them, because the whole point of this is my, without seeing anything, without knowing anything of what we're gonna pull up here and see what their rankings are and if I would agree with them or not. And that could that could be very interesting. So we'll see. How about then let's get into it. So if I pull this down for a sec, let's see out of this list. I don't care what they say. Let's just see what they say on the actual Is this the official start of the ranking? No, unranked. Okay, so yes, absolutely. I totally 100% agree. I've seen one of the Ewok stories, and it was meh. It was alright. It does not belong in Star Wars. It really doesn't, even though it's technically... I don't know what George Lucas was thinking. This was George Lucas. I don't know what he was thinking, honestly, but... they certainly were something. Let's go to the next one. Alright. Number 13. Rise of Skywalker. Wow. Huh. I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just kind of surprised. That's not exactly a bad placement, honestly, for this movie. A lot of people may disagree. Who knows? But for me, yeah, I don't know. This is probably... I don't mind its placement, but I would say, actually, that's not what I would say is the worst one. I don't. I truly don't. I don't think this one's the worst one out of the Star Wars franchise. I really don't. But, well... we already saw what the worst was. But, no, I mean, like, the actual movies. I don't really have a problem necessarily with it. I just don't necessarily agree with it at the same time. And what I mean by that is my personal ranking, I wouldn't disagree with. But at the same time, it's not a bad one. It's fair. It makes sense. So we'll go on from that. Rise of Skywalker. It wasn't a great movie, though. I will agree. The next one they have on this list.
Oh! What? Guys, this is a genuine reaction. I did not expect this whatsoever. Are you serious? They're saying this is the second worst movie of the Star Wars franchise. Seriously. I kind of feel sick. I seriously do. Wow. No, I agree. I disagree. 100% disagree. This is so bad.
This is so bad. I'm sorry. This is bad. I know the arguments. Don't get me wrong. You guys can disagree with me on the prequels view. I like the prequels. I do. I really do. Sorry. Sometimes I look at the wrong spot instead of the camera. I will work better at that. But still, my point being, I don't agree with this. Not at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. Out of all the movies, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything yet, but other than, no, this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. I don't understand this. No, absolutely not. I like this movie. It's not the greatest. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not, but I like it. It's a good one. Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna keep going. I will try to hold my views until the end of this. Man, that is, I don't understand this one at all. I don't. Anyways, let's keep going. And so, that was their review on 19. Wow. No, 19. Excuse me, that's because it says 1999 in the air. My bad. I meant number rank 12. I don't agree with that. Bad taste in my mouth. Solo? Don't get me wrong. This isn't the greatest. It's not. And I understand the arguments. I do. But my point of view on this, no. This isn't one of the worst either. It's not. You know, there's things I don't agree with it, sure. But no. I don't really think so. Yeah. Honestly, the movie wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. I mean, if they think about all the Star Wars movies of the franchise, this isn't the worst. I've seen worse, which we're gonna probably get to. Which I'm surprised they rank this their third lowest, number 11. I don't know. Out of the 13 they've placed, this doesn't make sense to me, at all. Phantom Menace is way above this one, though. I agree with that. Wait, no, I disagree with their ranking. That's what I'm saying. I disagree. Why is Phantom Menace before this one? I don't get that one at all. I would definitely say this one's not as good as Phantom Menace, but they're saying this one's better than Phantom Menace. And we haven't even gotten to the rest of them. Yikes. This is going really odd. I don't know what's going on here. The next one, rank. Wait. Am I? Oh yeah. Okay, we're good. Rank number 10. Clone Wars. Okay. I mean, it was the start of the series of the TV show. So it makes this makes sense. And as number 10, yeah. I can place it there. It makes sense. I understand the numbering. Now but Phantom Menace is under this one? And Solo? I mean, Solo's not that great, but it's under this one? I mean, Solo's the other two are live action movies. I mean, I could even give you... No, I would disagree with that, what I was about to say. No, this is... It would be controversial what I will say next, but... Yeah, the way it's placed on the number scale, I agree. Now, where the movies of the rest of them that we've already seen, I disagree with. So, let's keep on going. We'll go to the next one. Number 9. Rogue One. Oh my. I can't say it's wrong, though. There's, No, wait. No, I can't. I already know a couple of movies that we haven't even reached yet. Why is this one below those ones? Why? I don't get this. Huh. I can definitely tell you this movie's two up on the rankings already. Two further up. And Phantom Menace is better than this one. Sorry, my opinion. I like this movie. I really do. This is a really good one. Out of all the ones Disney has done, this is by far, dare I say, their peak. Yeah, I would totally say this one's really good. Now, I'm not saying it's better than Phantom Menace. In my view, it's not. Now, I know why there's going to be counter arguments with it because of the prequels and because of Phantom Menace, dare I say, Jar Jar Binks. But, yeah, though, I still think this is not a good placement for this one either. This one, as I said, Clone Wars had a good placement, and so doesn't Rise of Skywalker. But Rogue One, no. Solo, no. Phantom Menace, absolutely not. Well, that's their number 9. We're gonna keep going. Man, I didn't realize I'd feel like this from these. I did not expect this at all. I'm seriously, I'm just as shocked. Oh, no, 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 no. I can tell already Entertainment does not care for the prequels. I can tell that. They don't care for the prequels, Entertainment Weekly. They don't. They absolutely do not care about him. I mean, think about it. Why is this number 8? I could give you leeway on it be Phantom Menace. I could give leeway for someone who would say Phantom Menace is better than this one. I could totally even give that leeway. They're saying this one is worse than... everyone knows what I'm thinking. Everyone knows it. We haven't even gotten to, my opinion, the two of the worst out of the Star Wars franchise. We haven't even reached there. And we're already past 2 prequels. I'm guessing they hold Revenge of the Sith pretty high. But if they have Revenge of the Sith lower than the movies I'm thinking of, oh man. Oh man, that's so messed up. That's so messed up. I hope they don't do that. Because it's already messed up. Alright, anyways, we're gonna keep going. I'm dying here, guys. I'm dying. Oh. The next movie is... Finally. There's some understanding with this one. Not with the movies over the other placement. I'm just happy Revenge of the Sith is higher than this one. That's why I'm, like, happier. That's it. Guys, that's the only reason. This movie should be way lower. Way lower. I'm not saying it's the lowest. I could give you guys... I've heard arguments, and honestly, I can see it. With this movie, I didn't like it in the beginning. I mean, even from the get-go, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like Force Awakens. I didn't... I'm not saying it's the worst. Because when I saw it, even though I have problems with it, a lot of them, and it wasn't not good to me. I still remember the era where a lot of people liked this one. A lot of people liked this movie. And they had good arguments. It wasn't that I disagreed with them necessarily. But when I gave my counter arguments a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, that did happen. And I can tell you guys after this ranking, but I'll have to tell you my ranking after this. I absolutely have to. Force Awakens is so. I mean, Phantom Menace is better in it. I'm sorry, Phantom Menace, and if you just heard what I said, when it comes to Phantom Menace in Episode 2, personally, you might not. You'll be surprised, but Episode 2, Star Wars. If we're going prequel order, you know what I mean. Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones is actually it's switched over the years when it comes to one and in another in particular, but Episode 2 has been like my favorite out of the Star Wars franchise. And I mean, that's gonna be, you guys are gonna be like, what? And I can tell you why. I'm a lore person. I love when I got into Star Wars, it was in the prequel era. And but don't get me wrong, I love the originals, not traditionals. The originals. I love the originals, and they're great. They were just on the mark, and everything that goes into it. I love those movies, and I love the mysticism and everything that started with that. But I prefer the prequels. I do. I like the prequel. I not just grew up with them. I understand the lore. I read a few of the books. Now, I'm not a major book reader of Star Wars, but I have read a few. And that's when it got me into Star Wars. And so obviously now that I've said all that, which I got into a rant, I apologize. Before we even finish this. But yeah, I totally prefer the prequels over this any day. Not even close. And as I told you, since Attack of the Clones is one of my favorites, and I hear even an argument why Phantom Menace is better. I've even heard that, and I can agree with you in an argument sense of like your personal preference. I can actually see the reasoning. It's just not personally me. But they put this over those two movies. And to be frank, honestly, I think Solo's better than this in a lot of ways. Oh, wow. I know. But in a lot of ways, I kind of liked Solo more than this. I really did. I did, dude. I really did. Anyways, we're going to keep going. Now, 6. I'm dead, guys. I'm so dead. This is... ugh. Sickening to me. No! 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 Guys, as I told you, one of my favorites is Episode 2. But most people in general, out of the prequels, say this is the best. And I disagree either with that. With their like all their arguments, I totally agree with them. It's just me personally, this just isn't my favorite one. It's just personally. I love it. It's just not my personal favorite. And the reason why is because I'm when it comes to stories, and I'm kind of a storyteller myself, I'm always the kind of storyteller when it comes to happy endings and the heroic story with the ending. Like, let me put it this way. I love the vibe of like, I don't not necessarily like the corniness kind of as much anymore, but the vibe, the happy vibe of like Episode 4, A New Hope. I love that feeling. I love the happiness. I love we face this trial of darkness together, but yet we can still win, and in the end, they win. The good guys win. Now, if we're talking about the trilogy-wise and everything, storytelling keeps going, that's where Empire Strikes Back is perfect for it, because they don't always win, and it's perfect. I love it. I love that. And this is that kind of idea. They don't always win, but the good guys lose. But that's just more of my vibe. I'm just saying this is obviously way up there. Like, I'm not saying 10 out of 10, but 10 out of 10. You know what I mean. But just not my personal favorite. That's just it. Otherwise, but if you're talking about great Star Wars movies ever, yeah, absolutely. And the one I was hoping that was more of the worst they were gonna say was The Last Jedi. I can't believe Last Jedi they put on top of all the prequels. They put it on top. They destroyed the ranking of the prequels. And I absolutely disagree with that. Absolutely. They said, according to them, they're almost saying that Force Awakens is almost better than this movie. That's not true. Last Jedi is absolutely worse than this. If we're talking about cinematography or whatever in the movie and the budget and what they did, and when it comes to the like explosions, what's the word I'm trying to say? Special effects. It's top tier. Last Jedi is top tier when it comes to that. Otherwise, I hate it. I practically hate it. It just ruins the whole Star Wars franchise. Ooh, well, I wonder where they're going to place that one. And this is only number 6. I mean, obviously we have the originals, so there's 3 up ahead. And then, obviously, they haven't put out Last Jedi. That's 4. What's in between that? What, out of all... I'm confused. What do they have above... I mean... We have the originals, right? And then they have Last Jedi, obviously, above it. That's 4. This is 6. That means there's 1 in between. What on earth do they have that's better than Revenge of the Sith? I'm scared. I don't understand this. Okay, well, here we go. Are you kidding me? What the crap? Are you serious? I'm not saying this isn't good, but this is not where it's supposed to be. What? 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 Above Revenge of the Sith? I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. Guys, this is supposed to be... You know when you saw the Clone Wars Rey up earlier in the movie? That was the re-edition of the... Between the series of Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, what we just watched. This is literally the in-between of those 2 series. Which has already been redone. I'm not saying this one can... I could hear an argument of saying this is a better Clone Wars. Sure. But why is it above Revenge of the Sith, and Attack of the Clones, and Phantom Menace? Why is this one? We're talking about an animated show. The same with the Clone Wars. That's why I was like, kind of like, with the Phantom Menace. At least they put Attack of the Clones above that. But it doesn't even matter anymore, because this is also an animated show. And it's 2D. I mean... I'm not saying that this isn't great. I like it. I mean, I actually like this. This is true Star Wars. But it's not above the actual main franchise movies. What on earth? Entertainment Weekly? I think you need to get your heads checked, man. Because this makes no sense. Absolutely makes no sense. Why is a 2D cartoon above Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith? And if you talk to really anybody, I'm talking about the Star Wars wise, you know who puts them, the argument's always been, for the nerds of it's always been the original movies, and then Revenge of the Sith. It's always been those 4. Always. The next always comes to, then, within it, when, with the sequels came in or whatever, then there was other ones debated with I heard the debates with Phantom Menace and Attack on the Clones, and I can give you a little bit of leeway, a little bit, but the 2003 Clone Wars animated show is above the actual. This is supposed to support those movies. That's the whole point of this creation. It's not above it. It's a support show. Whatever. I don't understand this. That is so crap. I don't get that. Well, anyways, let me guess. They dared to put The Last Jedi above any of the originals? You're walking on ice, guys. I don't know what to say anymore. You put Last Jedi above the original movies. What? What? The Last Jedi story is crap compared to these movies. Absolutely. It doesn't. I could even hear a little bit of leeway when it comes to this, to The Last Jedi compared to the prequels. Not the originals. No one agrees with this. No one. Unless you're talking about those who literally just get into Star Wars and that's all they watch and that's all they care about, and they argue on that viewpoint, which whatever, to each their own. But if we're talking about the overview of fans, this is not true. This is so bogus. This is so bogus. How on earth is Last Jedi above Return of the Jedi? How? Because this is one of the originals, guys. The originals. Finally. I still 100% disagree where they place it. They guys, this is their number 3. They're number 3 of the top Star Wars movies in the franchise. No. No. Oh man, I don't understand this. I didn't know what I was getting into. I really didn't. Guys, I'm gonna be frank. Because it's just one of the start. I wanted to just start something, videos wise, and this is what I started doing. This is what I decided to try out, and I didn't expect this. This is honestly, to me, this is an entire joke. This whole list is a joke. Oh well. Well, we know what the next ones are. What's your guess? Right before we move on, I don't know what they'll place. Let's make a guess. My guess is they're number 1. Let's see. They're number 2. I'm going to say with my gut feeling, the next one, number 2, is going to be A New Hope. Star Wars A New Hope, or Episode 4, however you want to put it. And then it's going to be the next one, Empire Strikes Back. They're going to put number 1 as Empire Strikes Back. That's my bet. That's my guess. And I can give you a leeway. That one would make sense. If Empire Strikes Back is the number 1 movie of the Star Wars franchise, I could agree. I mean, not personally, but I could agree with that statement. I don't disagree with it. It's just personally, I don't agree with it. What I'm saying is like in the view of like overarching, all the arguments, everything is reasonable. It's understandable that Episode 5 or Revenge of the Sith is number 1 in the Star Wars franchise in their view, and I can't argue with them. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Sure. So we'll see. That's my guess. What's your guys' guess? Put it in the comments before I go. And I'm going. Yes! Ah, I am the Master Commander. Yes, I'm right. The New Hope and then Empire Strikes Back. There we go. Yeah. Yes. Good, good, good. Cool. Cool. I like the last two, at least. It makes sense. So, alright. What did I say I was gonna do? Oh, yeah. I was gonna rank them myself. My personal ranking. And now that can be somewhat controversial myself. I'm gonna write it down. And I'll go through the list myself, and then we will see what my personal ranking is. I'll be right back.
20 minutes later.
Alright, guys. We're back. And so I've come up with my list, and now we are going to get through this together, if it's possible. This might be a little controversial, but this is going to be my honest opinions, my honest feelings. And some of these can change. I will say, my opinion sometimes would change on some of these. So, let's just get into it. I don't need to talk too much, do I? More. We don't care about this. We're not here for that. Alright. My ranking is gonna look way different from theirs. Way different. My number 13, the last, the worst of all of the Star Wars franchise. And I don't regret this. Last Jedi. I don't care what you think on this one. It's just personally, I absolutely cannot. They absolutely destroyed my feeling, I don't necessarily want to say feelings, but my appreciation for Star Wars. This just ruins it. It's so bad. It's so bad. As I said earlier, though, cinematography, special effects, it's amazing. But that's all I give it. That's all I give it credit. Otherwise, it's horrible. It's so bad. It's so bad. Ugh, they ruined Luke. I mean, I can just keep going, but they ruined Luke. And, like, I can say, like, and this is my opinion, obviously. But, I can say there are people out there who needed this depressed, horrible, miserable Luke. But I'm not one of them, and that's not Luke for me. It's just terrible. Just terrible. Just terrible. I love Luke. That's what's hard. Luke is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars. For most people, obviously. But he's just so good. You just can't... You really can't have Star Wars without Luke Skywalker. But, anyways, which is why he's the main theme as in A New Hope. It's the whole point. You're all probably thinking, what about Leia? Leia was great. Yeah, Leia was needed, but it was about Luke. That's what it was about. Anyways, well, there's my last, and I don't even need to get any further than that, I don't think. I'll give honest opinions if you ask me in the comments, otherwise. My arguments, whatever, but no. Nope. This is the worst. I can't watch it. I can't. Alright. My number 12. And that one will be The Rise of Skywalker. Personally, guys, I'm ranking it because it makes sense. I mean, there's so many things that's bad on it, but at the same time, there are things I like about it, which is interesting. But I just, as a movie, though, I feel bad in a lot of ways for J.J. Abrams, because he was put in a terrible position with this movie. He was put in a terrible position after what I just showed you with Rian Johnson's directing when it comes to The Last Jedi. But I don't know. Could he have done better? Maybe. Could he have not? Maybe. So, but at the same time, that's the only kind of one of the reasons why I put this lower than that movie. I mean, higher than that other movie. But at the same time, I don't know. It's bad, I know, but I won't watch it obviously again. And I have problems with it, especially the whole last line. That's probably the biggest problem I have with this one, is how she says, "I am Rey Skywalker." No, you're not. The whole point was you accepting you being a Palpatine, but yeah, I guess we can't have that. It doesn't make sense. You have to be a Skywalker, apparently. Which makes sense of accepting who you are in the whole message of the whole movie. Sure. Whatever. Now we're gonna go to my... What's this one? Number 11. My number 11. Obviously, we'll get to the other ones. Is that it? Yes. Clone Wars. The 2008 animated series. Well, this is the movie, part of the series, but it's part of the series. Not in chronological order, obviously, but I put it honestly pretty low because it's animated, and as far as movies, Star Wars movies goes, it's not the greatest, but it was about, honestly, at this point, it wasn't really about comparing it to the movies. It was about starting the series of the Clone Wars animated show. And so they did the movie with this, but the funny thing is this is not even in chronological order, but whatever. With the series, this is like, if you put everything even in order, there's 2 episodes before this even battle. It's weird. Or is it 3 episodes? I can't remember. But either way though, this movie though, it's still Star Wars, and I can accept it, honestly, even though with its problems. It's a good movie, and I like because it's Star Wars. It really is Star Wars. It's the true sense of Star Wars. And those who don't think George Lucas was involved, George Lucas was heavily involved with the original Clone Wars show, which made it even better. You can see the handiwork of George Lucas. So, anyways, that's my opinion. Which is why it's on this rank, which is above the other 2. The other 2 I don't even really count as Star Wars. I'm going to be frank. I just don't. Those 2 movies, just forget it. Okay, now let's go to my number 10. My rank number 10 is Solo. Honestly, you probably might understand why, but is it one of the best Star Wars movies ever? No. But is it one of the worst? No. My personal opinion is I only put this rank, honestly, I only put this Solo at 10 over Awakens for one reason only. And the one reason is not just because a lot of people like Force Awakens. I can see it. Even though I wholeheartedly I don't like Force Awakens. I really don't like it at all. If we're gonna compare, for me personally, well, actually, that's the whole point of this, isn't it? Well, okay, I'll change my rank there. See, we can change things. Do little doohickey here. Boop. So, I guess this is number 9. Solo I've ranked as number 9. Because honestly, it's not too bad. It's not the greatest, and it's not the worst. It's good. It's alright. I like Solo. It's okay. Now, let's go to my other lesser rank, if I'm being honest. I know, guys, you have no idea how much I debated on making sure the sequels were not all in this, but I just can't. I gotta be honest. Where's The Force Awakens anyway? There it is. I just can't, guys. I just don't. I can't like this movie. We're talking about our opinions. That's why I changed it. I'm being honest. I don't like this movie. It's bad. And the only reason why it's somewhat good story-wise is because it's just a copy of The New Hope. It's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah. I've heard counter arguments. Ray's interesting in this one and all this. I would say the one thing, like, I don't even necessarily like him too much. He's kind of almost my favorite character in this movie, Finn, but he's not that great. What I would have liked is him be the main character of the movie. I'm gonna be honest, him being a Jedi, from Stormtrooper turned Jedi, that'd been so cool. Such a great story. I don't even care if he's gonna be a Jedi now. It doesn't even matter. I'm talking about him being the main character of the sequel. It would have made so much more sense. I'm not saying Rey couldn't be, but it was kind of hard. Like the way, I just didn't like it. And maybe J.J. Abrams would have made it better if he had the whole sequel trilogy. I don't know. But I already had problems right away. She absolutely could not do what she did without any training, and she did it without any training. It just breaks Star Wars for me. And as I have said, Jedi are like so important. Like for me, Jedi, the whole thing about Jedi are so cool. I always love Star Wars when it comes to Jedi were my favorite thing in Star Wars, which is probably why you're gonna see that part in my ranking, and that will make more sense in my ranking. Jedi are my favorite thing. They really are. They're so cool. Now in the prequels, obviously have problems, but true Jedi, they're cool. I love Jedi, but Rey isn't one. Not to me. I don't care if you go through training, their whole sequel. She doesn't train. She really doesn't. She's not a Jedi. She's not. It makes no sense to me. And I'm not even going to get into all this stupidness, and I can tell you, if you guys ask me questions in the comics later, I can tell you, comments later, I will tell you, but no. Alright, let's continue on. Enough of that, right? Yeah. And we already said about Solo. It's number 9. So we're going to my number 8. Surprisingly, it's the Clone Wars 2003. Is it the animation crazy? No, but it's such a good story. It's really good. Honestly, it's Star Wars. I like it. I'm sorry. But it's just, man, how many eyes am I gonna say today? But I can't. It's just true. I'm so sorry. You're probably gonna hear that a lot now. I can't believe that I got to enjoy this more than some of the movies. That's surprising to me. That's all I'm gonna really say. The live action movies, it just kind of saddens me that, to me, this one's better than the sequels. But it's true. I like it a lot better. And I got to see Anakin's darkness. We get to see that, but at the same time, him growing and becoming a Jedi, and him and his one of the moments where him and Obi-Wan when he's a Jedi Knight and they're eating together, and he just eats whatever the food. It's just funny. True Anakin is funny. So, all right, let's go on from there. My number 7, and that is Rogue One. Rogue One. By far, absolutely by far, Disney actually did really good. They did really good. This movie is so good. I love the whole thing. Some people don't like it because of the death scene of all the characters. But the main characters. But at the same time, not to me. This made sense. This was perfect for the whole story. And just, you know, in the true sense, when you look at Rogue One, even in the previous stories of everything, before even Disney took over, it was a crazy effort to get the plans. The Rogue One isn't obviously the same, but the point being of the, what was it? Expanded universe, Legends. It's not like Legends. I'm not saying that, well, it is, but it isn't. I'm not saying that the Legends story is, the point being, Rogue One is supposed to be an all-out effort from the Rebels to get the plans. And they had heroes. But why are there heroes in episode 4? They're dead. That's why they're not there. They took everything they had to get the plans. And that was so well done. That was right on the money. That's why it was so good. Because it was true that these guys, they weren't meant to live. It's just how it was supposed to be. It shows how strong the Empire was and how deadly they were. And when we watch the originals, we don't get to see it as much, other than Empire Strikes Back, obviously. But we only see with the Rebels themselves, other than the main characters, we only see with the Rebels themselves one battle. Yeah, they lose miserably, but we only got to see one battle when it comes to actual Rebels in that fight. And so in that fight, and I'm talking about Hoth, obviously, the Battle of Hoth. Other than that fight, you don't see the Rebels the rest of the time, other than the other movies where they win. But in reality, they don't win. In this period of time, especially, Rebels, the only wins they had were hit and run. They just hit and they were gone. Their fleet, the reason why they had it, that fleet was an accurate description of how much they had in their fleet. But you know, the Empire, a fleet is like 3. In fact, actually, I take this back a little bit. A Star Destroyer could take on a fleet by itself. It was that powerful. And then the Empire had fleets of like 3 Star Destroyers at least, all over the galaxy. All over. The Rebels only had the one fleet in the Battle of Scarif. That was their fleet. Other than the X-wings and Y-wings, you could say in A New Hope, that fleet, which wasn't really a fleet, it's just a fleet of fighter ships. Their true fleet, which was on Scarif, that was it. That's all they had. They did not have any more. Their fleet size was so small, and so that was really, anyways, that was really cool. It showed they had to throw everything they had for the plans, and it was done right. I forget what her name, Jyn or so. She's, I mean, is she the worst? No. She was a decent character, but she wasn't one of my favorites. She was just, alright. She did her part, you know. I'm not talking about the actress so much. She did great. I'm talking about the story-wise, the writing of the character. But the rest of the characters, I like it. I love this movie. Anyways, Andor, yes. I don't remember the rest of the names. I'm so sorry. I'm just going from the top of my head. I only remembered Andor from the show, funny enough. Okay, enough of that. So that was Rogue One, which was number 7. Now we're getting to the good. Here we go. Here we go. My number 6 of the whole Star Wars franchise. And guys, from here on, these could change. It's not always permanent with here for me. I love all these movies. Number 6. Right here. Star Wars: A New Hope. What a movie. What a movie. The start of the Star Wars franchise. Yeah, what can you say? The beginning of the movie, like, here's my critic part. Honestly, I love this movie. I'm just being the critic of the flaws of this movie. But we dare not say flaws. Wow. Yeah, there's flaws, but it's not like a big deal. It's too good to care about the flaws. For one, though, it's true, it was 77, almost in the 80s. It's so long ago. And it still holds up today. Oh my goodness. I'm supposed to say flaws. One of the flaws that the movie had was it's actually kind of a slow start. But it's world building. But for me, it didn't matter. You were getting introduced to the world of Star Wars. Or I should say galaxy, universe of Star Wars. And it was so well done. You get through it. You're introduced by it through droids. That's not really done before. You know, if you think about it in the movie industry, especially before this, doing it through droids, I really don't think there's been something, or I should say robots, the best way to put it. I don't think that's really been done before. It was really done before. And George Lucas is like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to use these guys to get to Luke, who's going to get through the rest of the story. Who's our main character? And then we see the eyes through Luke the rest of the time. But he started with robots. Now it's slow. But and everyone's going to be like, well, what about the first fight? No, that's the point. It was that first battle and the fight with the rebels and the stormtroopers were great. But then after that, between there, all the way to meeting Han Solo. Actually, not just meeting Han Solo, but, well, there's some action there. And, you know, Obi-Wan ignites his lightsaber and cuts off that guy's arm for the first time in the cantina. And Han Solo shoots Greedo. But I'm gonna go a little bit further with that gap, but I'm just gonna say a little bit further. But that's where it starts getting very cool and interesting wise, when you're getting to know aliens when it comes to the cantina. But the battle when they're leaving on the Millennium Falcon, that's where you get to see, like, there's a big chunk of time there in that movie where it's kind of slow. But other than that, it picks up really quick after that, and what can you say? It's so good. I mean, as I was gonna say, it was 77. Any of the cheesy dialogue, we obviously give it a pass, because everyone gives it a pass because it's so long ago. It's so good though. It's so good. And Alec McGinnis. Did I say that right? I don't remember. Sorry if I've said something really stupid. I said something stupid. Sorry. But my point being, or is it Alec Guinness? I don't know. I might have said something stupid. Anyways, but Obi-Wan Kenobi, so good. And then you get Obi-Wan and Vader in their fight, and yes, it looks so stupid when you're talking about today's day, but we're talking, this was in 77. And those who don't know, in that fight scene with Vader and Obi-Wan, they didn't have the technology to do lightsabers that they get to do even a few years later in the original series, where they are hitting harder. The reason why they're not hitting harder and they're hitting really weird is actually because technology prevented them. They were using glass blades. Bars for the lightsaber blade, because the lighting and the effects they had only then, they were using glass, and there was like a powder inside, and so they had to be very light, otherwise the glass would clash and it would shard and they would get cut all over, poisoned. It was not good, so they had to be very careful. So that's what you see this D stuff. Anyways, I could keep going. Introduced to Han, so good, and his change. I don't agree with the Han shot first. I agree with Han shot first, but I don't agree with the change later in the special edition. But who cares? Okay, so now we're doing my number 5. Number 5. The Phantom Menace. Oh, so good too. The only reason I put it here is because it has a couple of problems, but personally, I love this movie. I love it. I like it a lot. I mean, people who have a problem with Jar Jar Binks, obviously, it doesn't really bother me too much, honestly. And when I grew up, that's how I knew. Actually, I thought it was kind of funny. I really did. I thought he was kind of funny. And guys, even though I grew up with the prequels and everything, I did watch the originals, obviously, at that from a young age too. It's just, to me, I didn't mind it. I still had the if I watch Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, I'm still right back to when I watched Star Wars, and to me, it's instantly Star Wars. I don't even think about it. To me, it's true Star Wars. And so, I love The Phantom Menace. There's a couple of quirky things. I brought up Jar Jar Binks. Obviously, little Anakin Skywalker. I forget who the actor was, but how the fans treated him was horrible. That was not right. That was so wrong. That was so bad. I'm not even gonna get into that, but I will say, why was Anakin as a kid like? He was a kid. The actor was a kid. The way he acted was exactly what George Lucas wanted, and he wasn't. He can't do exactly perfectly like an adult can. If you even watch today's production of actors, most of the teenagers, shows where the characters are teenagers, most of the time are adults. They might even be up in not just 20s. They could be closer to 30s. It's insane. And so that's why they can professionally act. They're not hindered. Their brain, they can do acting perfectly. I'm not saying there aren't great kid actors, but generally speaking, kids have a harder time doing what we do. And treating him like that was just horrible. Anyways, I love Qui-Gon. I love his death and scene and all that goes into, and Darth Maul and all that. That was so cool. Would Darth Maul be a better Sith Lord for the rest of the series? Movies? Maybe. But, I think he was cool anyways. He did come back at some point anyway. But, we saw it earlier in the animated series, Clone Wars. He comes back in season, 5? Or was it 4? It was one of those two. He comes back. Anyways, let's keep going. That was my ranking of what did I rank it? Phantom Menace? Number 5. My number 4. Man, I'm surprised I put it there. Wow. Do I want to change that? Oh, that's just hard. Because I like all those movies that are next. These two are so close together, guys. I'm just going to let you know. They're so close together. I have a hard time with this part. You guys are going to be surprised, but I just have a hard time. My number 4 is Empire Strikes Back. I know. I'm sorry. But I love this movie. Don't get me wrong, guys. And the acting, Luke, man, I can do better than that. Luke, I am your father. And man, I'm forgetting names now. Anyways, forget it. The voice actor, James Earl Jones. There we go. James Earl Jones. Oh my goodness. Mark Hamill, and the acting, the passion, the things that were going on in the Empire Strikes Back, the way they lose and they show it, and you learn Vader is Anakin Skywalker, Luke's dad. It's so good. And the production goes way. Even New Hope was already legends when it comes to. There was nothing sci-fi before it, like anything close to how good that one was. A New Hope. New Hope was a whole new cinema legend ball game. But Empire Strikes Back, Oh my goodness, so good. And from the very get-go, it's so good. The action, Hoth, and George Lucas is genius when it comes to Mark Hamill and his face change, because the reason why he gets this, you see in the movie, people that may not know this, but the scars he gets from the Wampa, and his face looks different, and you don't realize that, but his face does look a little different for one reason. It's because he was in a car accident. The actor, Mark Hamill, he was in a car accident before this, and he got really injured, really badly. And so to make up for the face change, he wrote in the Wampa scene where Luke cuts off his arm in the cave, because and you can see the Wampa clawing. They use that as the excuse of why he has a different look on the face, because that really did happen. And then he did that in order to make people not notice that it was still Luke. Yeah, he looks injured, but it's Luke. And no one knew. No one knew. It was insane. It was so cool. So many things he did. Oh my goodness. And it was good writing. Like, the Wampa scene is amazing. It's so good. You get to see his progress as a Jedi. That's what's so cool about that. You wouldn't have seen that before. Oh, Yoda. Who could forget Yoda? Yoda, I am. Yes, me. Oh man, I love Yoda. Okay, but yeah, I have a number 4. I'm sorry. But now we'll go to my number 3. And I was saying, guys, these two are so, I could switch them. I don't really care. Empire Strikes Back and this next one. My number 3. Oh, it's the other way. Isn't it? No, it's the other way. Obviously, they had it number 1. Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith. So good. So good. So emotional. So hard. All the Jedi dying. But yet, even though all the Jedi dying, you get Anakin and Obi-Wan and their relationship. In the very beginning, they go right into the battle. It's right into the Clone Wars, at the end of the Clone Wars, and you get. It's so cool that George Lucas gives us this image of like, this is what it's like. Jump in, here we go. The battle over Coruscant. Oh my goodness, that fleet fight, and Anakin and Obi-Wan, and then Anakin. See, this is where I really like Anakin, and in a true sense, not the corny dialogue. Like, it's still there. As I said, I don't care about the romance. Him and Padme's romance is so whatever. But the good point, movie point. That was a great plot. Just the romance is done so badly. That's all I'm saying. It was done badly, and George Lucas admits it, which is funny. But the progression and the turn, and where you see Anakin, where he's like, I'm sorry, Master. Forgive me, Master. And you got Obi-Wan who's, oh, I see it. This is going to be easy. Obviously, that was not a great Ian McGregor voice impersonation, but you know, whatever. I can do other voices, but just not that one. But it's such a good movie. And then you get to see the progression and what the Jedi were doing, and Sidious was doing, or Palpatine, either way you want to say it. How Sidious was conniving the situation to be where he wants it. And yes, even though the Jedi are the good guys, they're being deceived and manipulated, and also the Jedi though are making wrong decisions. Even though they're the good guys, they're literally the point in this movie. The Jedi are really the only good guys in this movie. I can only make a couple exceptions, like Bail, like Bail Organa, the Senator, or whatever. Otherwise, there's no good guys in this movie. There's none. The Jedi are the only good guys, and they're just they just goes right over their heads, and then when they do action, they do it in the wrong way. They mess up. They're too into politics, which is such a good story plot. That's part of the great things about the movie. And see how I'm saying bad things? It's not because the movie's bad. It's the way it's a lore. It's like a story thing. The story is amazing where I can say, they were so dumb. But I'm talking about people in the story. I'm not even blaming the story. It's too good. And Anakin, and then the passion, and then when the Jedi all die from the Order 66, all the way, and you see Anakin killing younglings, all the way to Anakin fighting Obi-Wan, and that passionate brother, that brother bond that they had is like totally destroyed, and they have to fight each other to the death, and it's killing Obi-Wan for one, and Anakin, he's actually killing himself. You see, and when I say killing himself, I mean like inwardly he's in pain, and no one knows this, but he hated where he was. He wanted to turn away, even by after he goes and kills the heads of the separatists on Mustafar. You see a scene that he's standing outside and he has a tear coming down his face, and he's just angry looking around, but there's tears coming down his face. That is Anakin and his remorse and his guilt of what he has done, because he can't take it back. But the thing is he wouldn't, even though he hates himself for it, he won't change because it was meant to save Padme. It's so good. I'm getting too far into this. Anyways, such a good thing. Such a good movie. But yeah, that's my number 3. But see, as I was saying, this or Empire Strikes Back. Oh, I don't know. I could have Empire Strikes Back as number 3, guys. I'm serious. They're interchangeable. It's so close. I just had to come up with a number, and that's the one I came up with. Now my number 2. My number 2. You guys are kind of probably thinking, wait a minute. What's the ones left? Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi. And the reason why is because I can see movie-wise, guys, why you would think, why Return of the Jedi? It's great, but at the same time, you could say it's the weakest of the originals. And I can agree. I can say you're right. But at the same time, for me, I love the fact that this is where you see Luke come out as a Jedi. And Luke revealing all the emotions. Like, when Luke throws away his lightsaber and is like, "You failed, Your Highness. I'm a Jedi, like my father before me." And then you get the Emperor. So good. So be it, Jedi. Such a good. And then you get to see you get to see Anakin again come out of his shell of being Darth Vader and saving his son and being redeemed as Anakin Skywalker. And he was all done through Luke. And Luke was a true Jedi. He wasn't like... He had the lightsaber in his hand. He could have fought. But instead of fighting, he goes, "I'm not going to fight anyone. I'm a Jedi." And that's what a Jedi means. And I have the commitment to defend other. It's about knowledge and defense. I will defend. I'm not going to attack. That is a totally different level. And he does everything. And he's like, "I'm going to do this to save my father, who is a mass murderer who's caused mass genocide." But at the same time, I love him. I'm gonna save him. That's what makes Luke so awesome. And this movie's so good. And the action, yeah, you got the Ewoks are kind of dumb, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't really mind. And honestly, when you look at the Ewoks, yeah, they're little teddy bears, which is kind of funny. I agree. It's not really logical, but at the same time, it's kind of funny. And the things they do, though, I actually looked this up. If you actually, here's a good example. If you have seen Mythbusters, they actually do Mythbusters on Star Wars and the originals. And they do one for the Hoth, where Luke is put into a tauntaun. Could he have survived overnight and everything like that? In a tauntaun guts. They did the science. Yes, it was right. It was true. He could have. That would have worked. And then also the other with one of the other ones was, could these logs or these things that the Ewoks did, the traps, could they actually have destroyed the Imperials' tanks, armaments, and all of their things? Could they have? Would it work? They did it. It works. It actually, it's true. If you in that situation with bows and arrows and everything, you could actually beat. You could actually beat them, the stormtroopers with guns. You could beat them. But at the same time, if we think about it logically, George Lucas obviously was inspired by the Indians and the and the Pilgrims. Think about it. Pilgrims had muskets. Pilgrims had gunpowder and things like that. Yet, or actually, let's go even further than that. You had the Indians and the Cowboys. And yet, the Indians put up a huge fight. I mean, a huge fight. And they were pretty successful with just bows and arrows and horses and stuff like that. And we had guns. I'm seeing really guns. It's quite crazy. But anyways, it's just funny. But that's such a great yeah, it's such a, other than those things, I love the movie. I love the ship battle. Oh my goodness. The fight scene with Han down there on the grounds. And then Luke revealing his lightsaber against Jabba the Hutt. I'm not even going to get into the other thing at that scene I don't actually like. But it's a personal thing for me. But other than that, though, I love Luke's reveal as a Jedi and what a Jedi can do. We got to start seeing what a Jedi can do. We didn't see until prequels, but you got to see what Luke could do. And he wasn't even a full Jedi yet. He only learned what he needed. That's what's crazier. You think about the difference between him and Rey. Luke only was trained to the point of what he needed to be a Jedi, not to the point of what made a complete Jedi. That's what's crazy. So to be a Jedi Knight, he only had the it's like, here we go. It's like you were going through school and you only got the basic requirements. Like say it's D's. Let's say you can pass your school grade if only you had is D on your tests. Luke only had enough to do D's, and he passed. That's what made him a Jedi Knight, and in the skill level. Other than the personal choice, that's literally what Luke was. It's crazy, and so Luke is just so good. And then personally for me, I read the Legends when it comes to afterwards, Fate of the Jedi, all of that. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's kind of for me the sequels that we should have had. And Luke's so cool. Luke's so cool in there. And we get to see what Luke can really do at that point because he's a Jedi Master. He becomes the Grand Jedi Master of the entire Jedi Order. He actually builds the Jedi Order. It's crazy. My number one. My number one. Now, let us take this moment to appreciate that we get to enjoy this number one, this most fantastic Star Wars movie that was ever created, personally, in my opinion, in the 2024, February 23rd, on the 23rd, I should say, awards of the greatest Star Wars movie to have ever existed. Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Anyways, so yes, guys, this is like such a good movie for me, personally. It's just Star Wars Attack of the Clones is just a movie that brings out the Jedi. And you actually get to see what a Jedi can do. As I was just talking about Return of the Jedi, you kind of see why I like those two the most. Is the Jedi. You actually get to see Luke as a Jedi Knight, a reveal of what a Jedi could kind of do. But at the same time, You get Attack of the Clones, who really, you get then all the Jedi and what their whole skill set is, and you get to see what they were doing in their prime. With all of that was going on, you got to see the difficulties also, like you did in episode 3, the difficulties that Anakin was facing with himself. And then the emotional scene where he goes to kill the Tusken Raiders who killed his mom. And all that, everything that was going on. I really love this movie. But my favorite part, obviously, is the arena battle right here. Actually, this image, the arena battle with the Jedi versus the Separatists and the Geonosians. That was so cool. So cool. But then obviously we get the after battle, and so cool as well with the clones. We get to be introduced with the clones. It's all great. So, well, guys, I'm hoping you got to enjoy this little time with me in enjoying our appreciation of Star Wars together this afternoon, and taking your time to be able to watch this, not watch this with me, but get to enjoy my perspective on this and all how it goes compared to Entertainment Weekly. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope you get to have the things that are needed for you to succeed in your life. And with that being said, I hope you have a good rest of your day. See ya.